Hi, Adam Small here with Agent Sauce, and this is the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. We've got Doug Carr with us from DK New Media.
Hello.
How you doing today, Doug?
I'm fantastic.
Good. So today I was thinking we could talk about inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is kind of a term that's you hear a lot about. There's not a lot of real definition in it for a lot of people that don't really get down and study it.
Right.
And I think that it's something that real estate agents could really utilize a lot of to generate a lot of leads without spending a lot of money necessarily.
Yeah.
So can you start with giving us kind of a definition of inbound marketing?
Yeah, the term was actually put out by HubSpot, which is a marketing automation company, and HubSpot basically penned the term inbound, and all they meant was typically if you're doing sales and marketing, everything that you're doing is going out. So you're getting, let's say, an email list and sending out, and you're getting a direct mail list and sending out, and you're getting phone call lists and you're calling out, and you're going
so you're reaching out.
Yeah.
You're pushing out like flyers, postcards.
Right.
For real estate agents, they do a lot of postcards
Right.
and email marketing,
and that's outbound.
even print.
Yeah,
right?
and that's outbound. You're going out to go find people. Inbound marketing is the opposite. It's basically utilizing your website, your mobile device, your search engines, your social media presence to entice people to come in and to engage with you and eventually ask you for help. And so at the simplest, and people can argue the nuances, but the simplest is outbound. I'm going out to find you. I don't know who you are. I'm going out to find, or I might know who you are. Like I might get an email list, but I've never met you or whatever, but that's outbound. But inbound is I don't know you and you showed up on my doorstep.
Oh, okay.
And so you came in and said, wow, I was
for some reason you came looking for me, right?
Yeah, I saw you on social media talking about the house that you just sold, and I saw that your client was real happy, and we're thinking about buying a house in the next month. Could we do work? Well,
Right.
That's an inbound lead.
Okay. So how is you say email marketing is an outbound,
Kind
right?
of.
But it could also be inbound because you say social media. They saw you on social media, they saw your email, and they came in. So is it kind of a crossover medium?
Not necessarily. Like if you go buy a list, so a lot of people do this, right? They go buy an email list. They say, I want all of the doctors in Hamilton County, and they go buy an email list, which isn't always the best thing to do.
No, buying an email list,
It gets you into trouble.
It can definitely get you in trouble.
Let's put it a different way. Maybe you have an event that you co-sponsored with someone and they have a guest list. Well, those are people that you haven't met before. So you get an email list and then you send to them. That's probably a better one because they had permission and everything else to email them. And so that's still outbound. You didn't know who they were, right?
Right.
I think what you're talking about is like maybe someone comes to your site and they sign up for your email list or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
In that case, I would say that's still inbound, right? Mm-hmm. It's someone that still came to you, signed up with you, and everything else. Are you sending them periodic outbound emails? Yeah, but you already know who they were.
Right.
You already had
There's
connection.
already kind of an established relationship, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So let's kind of run through the mediums that you talked about. You mentioned websites. So how do you use a website for inbound marketing?
I love that question because a lot of people think of a website as just a brochure.
Right.
They think it's a digital brochure where in the old days you might have a pamphlet that you handed people. A website is that digital brochure. Well, that's really limiting because website technology is just incredible nowadays. The fact that you can put up videos and forms and capture people's lead information, you can optimize it for search engines and everything else. And so the first thing about a website is a website should be a method for you to engage with these people and connect, grab their information and have their data.
So for a website, you would put something of value up there that would bring interest, whatever it is, get that person to the website, if they're searching on Google or something like that. And, like for a real estate agent, it might be, great places to eat in this town or something like that brings them in, right?
Yeah, it might be like, a great place to eat, great vegetarian restaurants in town. And so if you got people that are, looking for real estate, but they want to buy a home near vegetarian restaurants, Well, now they're going to read your article and they know that you're familiar with the area.
And so then they fill in a contact form, call to action form, something like that.
Yep.
And you've got their information. So now you've got the lead, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Social media.
Yeah. So social media is what people I think fail to understand with social media is a lot of people look at it as my direct network, right? So I'm friends with you on social media,
right?
And we talk back and forth. Well, that's a public conversation. And so even though I have a relationship with you, there's people watching that conversation.
They have a relationship with you,
or,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, if they choose to get involved, then everybody that they also have a relationship with. So there's overlap between you and me, but then your friends are seeing it, my friends are seeing it. And if we can get one of them involved, then perhaps their friend's going to see it too, right?
You or go back to that vegetarian article, right?
Right.
I share that. My friends are vegetarians, which they're not, but we like meat. But I share that with my network of friends, and then all their friends see it. And so again, you're now attracting people that you didn't have a relationship with before.
Right. So you're expanding your reach just through the network of people
and
that you're interacting with.
And that's the power of social media. A lot of people look at social media and it's just who I'm connected to, how many followers I have, all of that. But it's really not. It's how many followers your followers have and how much your information is shared with everybody.
So that's where the potential for exponential reach,
exactly.
which is what your viral marketing, anything that goes viral, quote unquote,
right,
is really because the exponential opportunity that it created,
that
for reach,
amplification,
exactly,
exactly.
So, all right, so which social media platforms would you recommend, or say have the best benefit for that?
I really leave that up to the company or realtor that I'd be working with. So I'll give you for instance, it might be great that you have on Twitter, maybe you have a lot of following and you have great conversations on there and everything else, and you get good results. But some people don't like Twitter, so they're on Facebook. And so other companies might do really well on Facebook, and they might pay for Facebook advertising and do all kinds of stuff. But then let's say LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional network, and people are relocating using LinkedIn. So maybe LinkedIn is a good one for people trying to reach executives that are relocating. It all depends, who your audience is.
Exactly. And, that's something that I tell agents that we work with all the time, because they'll ask me, hey, which social media network should I be using? What should I be putting out on Facebook? What should I be doing on Twitter or Pinterest or whatever, right? And the thing that I tell them is, look, first of all, it's up to you, because your audience, who is in your sphere of influence, right? But more importantly, you don't want to do something and do it poorly.
Right.
It'd be better if you just weren't on that media channel at all, as opposed to doing it poorly, I
think nowadays especially, there's so much noise out there that people almost cherish the people that aren't noisy all the time, but when they post something,
it's something of value.
They love it.
Right. It's something that's worth looking at. Kind of like the old, many years ago, going to show a little age here, there was a TV commercial on that said, it was when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that E.F. Hutton, right?
Yeah, it was E.F.
So,
Hutton.
and the whole point was that the E.F. Hutton didn't speak a lot, but when they did, everybody listened. And the same thing goes for this, is that, you're better off, not speaking a lot, but putting something good out there that's worth listening to, as opposed to...
You're trying to, you're trying to build authority with those people. You're trying to build trust with those people. So if you're just wasting their time, they're going to unfollow you or ignore you, Whereas if you really do something special, and for real estate agents, I think we talked about this, the last couple shows. It's not, I just sold a house in 8 days, or I just, sold this house, or I got this new house on the market. It's more stuff like, I have an old 1970s house with a really terrible kitchen. What could I do to get it on the market and sell it? What kind of quick fixes could I make to that? Or it might be, I've got, I've got flooding in my backyard. How do I fix that? Or pests. I've got
So a lot of it's really
value,
home related, home fixer upper information. It's stuff that it may not necessarily apply to everybody here and now today, but you read a good article and you remember it later on, and it's home related or real estate related.
Well, in real estate, why do we move into neighborhoods, right?
Right.
Adjacent to businesses,
good schools,
churches, crime. You don't want to go to crime.
Not high crime. You don't want good crime in the area. No. A low crime rate.
And so those are the things that, as a real estate agent, if someone feels comfortable that you have a knowledge of those, even if you're just sharing if you're sharing the nightly crime report from your local TV station, even online,
right.
Just the fact that people start to get to know you and feel that, man, these people really know this neighborhood well. I can trust them,
Right. So then what you're saying is, it sounds to me like the whole intent and the whole purpose of putting the data out there from an inbound marketing, the ultimate end goal is obviously to get the lead so you can make the sale, right? But the reason that you end up getting the lead is because you establish a certain amount of authority.
Exactly.
And people recognize that you are the authority on this particular subject matter, this neighborhood and all that. So it really comes down to establishing the persona of a leader in that particular arena, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So I was literally just about to ask you some of the things that people could talk about, real estate agents could put out there that would kind of, from an inbound marketing perspective, help topics but you kind of covered some of those. So
I think imagery is really important nowadays. So even if you're on Facebook or Twitter, sharing an image is great. So things like I'll give you, for instance, from my house is like, I was going to build a new mailbox and put like a little garden around it. Well, when do I plant that? What's the right stuff to use? Like I can't remember what it was, like sawwood, something, I don't know what it was, some kind of grass, sawgrass. That's
sawgrass.
And so a couple people said, "Oh, that's sawgrass, and it's really beautiful and everything else." And then I got like 20 people that were like, "Don't
touch that.
Don't touch that stuff. You'll have a bush the size of Texas."
Yeah.
And so, it's stuff like that I want to build a fire pit in my backyard. How do I build my own fire pit in my backyard?
Right.
And so if a realtor was on that I was friends with and was giving me these kinds of things, I would really start to go, that's my go-to person. They're the guys that know how to do this. Why don't I ask him over or her over and over again?
Right.
And if I'm building that kind of relationship, now the real estate agent's got me, right?
Because you've transformed from another person trying to help me buy or sell a home into a resource.
Exactly. Yeah. So. And then because we're having periodic conversations, when the day comes that I'm either going to buy or sell,
that realtor is going to be top of mind.
Perfect.
And you're going to, and not only when you go to buy or sell, but if somebody says, "Hey, do you know a real estate agent?"
Exactly.
Right. You're top of mind so that you get the referral as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So, okay, great. Let's see. What other aspects of inbound marketing
search engines
might be interesting?
Search engines are just a huge deal nowadays, and so having a well-optimized website, and what I mean by that is that a website that has two components. It's got that that visual display and usability that people are going to interact with it, but it's also got kind of a digital and back-end way of communicating with the search engines. And without getting into
technical
stuff, there's things that you can do. And I'll give you a pretty example. We had a friend of mine, David, has a website, and he's a teen coach. He coaches teenagers like with life, stuff. And so he
life coach for teenagers.
Yeah,
that's got to be tough. Anyhow, back to your
kind of bridges between the parent and the child, where they're having communication issues and stuff. Really nice guy. And he came to us and he had a beautiful website. I mean, it was done on Squarespace, which is an adequate platform and stuff. And so of course I went in there and started looking at the back end of it, and I found all kinds of opportunities to optimize it. And without going into, like I said, I don't want to go into technical, but I probably spent about 4 hours on the site fixing all of that and getting it all right. He came and met with us a week later and said that he had 3 leads that that they found him on Google, and he had never gotten a lead on his website before. And then I forgot what I was going to say.
So optimizing the website was important.
Yeah, but it was just a matter of same exact website,
Right.
same look and feel, same everything, but just some back end
Tweaked
stuff
on the back
just
end
some
to
tweaks.
tell
Oh, I
Google
know what
where
I was
what
going to say.
was.
We check the ranking of the site. We have systems that can do that. You do it as well, and we saw that all of a sudden he had popped to page 1, for a couple of terms that he was really excited about.
Right.
And so that's the thing is sometimes you have a great website and they did a great job building it and designing it, but it's not found on search engines.
Right. All right, so sometimes the site looks great, but it's just not getting found, and it's because of kind of the back end internal workings of it, right? What about blogging? I mean, typically blogging is attached to a website.
Yeah.
Right. So you use blogging methods to reinforce your message, and that's where you start talking about the how to build your fire pit, or 5 ways to improve your home's value. Ways to get the most bang for your buck with kitchen renovations, that sort of thing. Right.
Yeah. I mean, the things that I would focus on, I think and we haven't done the analysis, of course, for what would a content like calendar look like for a real estate agent, but those things that I was talking about, like maybe it's neighborhood, and maybe it's selling a house, buying a house tips, maybe it's caring for maintenance for a house, so let's say those 4 things, right? And what I would want to do is I would want to say, okay, January through December, what should I write about each month from a seasonality standpoint and everything else? And so like spring might be before spring, the end of winter, you might want to talk about like pest control, and then spring, it might be, what do you want to plant? Or for summer, and so what you want to do is basically time your articles well, with the approach. And one of the things that we tell people is when people talk about blogging, a lot of times now they talk about, I should do 3 posts a week or whatever, or, whatever they think. Let's go back to the other conversation. No, do something of quality. If it means once a week or once every 2 weeks, that's fine. But try to meet your goal of having like a library of content on everything that someone might look for. So like the things that I was like, the churches in the area, the schools in the area and how they're graded. And then each year you can go back and touch up those articles. Like if it's a crime article on stats, I wouldn't create a new blog post every month with blog stats. I would go back, update the numbers, and then publish it as a new article, just set the date to that date and publish it as new. And what you're going to do is over time, that article is going to climb up the search engine results,
because of the refresh content.
Exactly.
And all that,
Yeah.
Right? So how do kind of jumping ship from the website and back to you talked about search engine earlier. And, as part of the search engine, you have Google ads, speaking of Google in particular, but they all have some sort of ad networking engine, right?
Yeah.
So how do ads play into that? Are they really considered inbound marketing opportunities? Are they...
I feel like it's more outbound. I really like, again, if you own the content, here's the difference, right? If you stop paying for ads, it stops, right?
Right.
But if you stop blogging, that doesn't stop people from finding your content and getting a hold of you.
Because it's always out there.
And so they're still coming to you. And so I still feel like paid search that's an outbound approach to go get them. You're going out to get them instead of getting found.
Right. Right. Okay.
So, I know it's a nuance, but
it's that's the whole difference. That's why it's called inbound marketing versus something else, right?
And the big difference is, I just said one was if you stop paying for advertising, you stop getting leads. But the other one too is momentum. That you can have an article. Let's say you write an article on Halloween safety or whatever, and it takes off, right? People share it socially and share it. It might take off on search engines and it might rank, absolutely fantastic. And every year at Halloween, you wind
It's
up
gonna end
getting
up
business.
ranking again,
Yeah,
right?
and you wind up getting business over and over and over again. And so that goes back to that quality thing. Do something of quality because it'll pay off over and over and over again.
Right. So, okay,
And I
great.
should throw videos in there. I talked about, images and everything else, but
Right.
videos are another one because YouTube is the number 2 biggest search engine.
Right.
And so people are searching on YouTube for how to make a fire pit, how to get rid of ants, how to plant a garden.
Right. It's funny you say that because I just recently redid my office and installed cabinets and all that stuff in there, and I was looking for how to install the kickboard on the bottom of the cabinet because
Yeah.
I've never done that, and I certainly didn't want to screw up the nice looking veneer by driving a nail through it
Right.
and all that. So I actually went to YouTube and
Yeah.
looked for how to install a kickboard, So
Yep.
again, a home improvement project, somewhat real estate related, right? All right, so
But let's talk about that, right?
yeah,
So how to fix a kickboard. And what if it was a really complex task and that
turned out it wasn't.
But let's say it was, and that guy that did that video was in, Indianapolis where you were.
Right.
You might just give him a call and say, "Hey, how much to come over and install this kickboard?"
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where we're getting with the real estate agent again is, a lot of times you can spill all your beans. Like you can tell someone exactly how to sell a house from front to back. If you want to do it yourself, here's how.
Have at it.
Have at it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what people will do is go through all of that stuff and look at all the contracts and look at all the complexity and everything, and they'll say, "You know what? It's worth it just to pay a real estate agent. Let's call them."
Exactly.
But you've just educated them on how great you are at it.
Right. So, kind of a interesting thing, when I was in the Marine Corps, it was knowledge is power, right? And,
Yeah.
it's kind of what you're talking about is the real estate agent's knowledge is power of how to do that.
Yeah.
And, the other side of it is that the person looking at it realizes that they don't have the knowledge by being educated. So, it drives them to say, yeah, let's make a wise decision, use a real estate agent instead of trying to do this on myself and maybe missing something,
There's a guy, Marcus Sheridan. He's pretty good. He's called the Sales Lion online and everything. And all your readers should check him out because they'll learn stuff from him. But Marcus made his break or whatever. He had a pool company, and I think it was in Arizona or something like that. And search engines were just starting to come up and everything else. And what he noticed was everybody that was coming to their website was asking, "How much does it cost? How much does it cost? How much does it cost? How much does it cost?" And he went out and he looked at all of the other guys that were putting in pools, and nobody had how much it cost to install a pool. And so he wrote an article, "How much does it cost to install a pool?" And he detailed out like all of the costs,
How they figure it
hidden
out.
costs, complex, everything else. Well, all of a sudden he ranked nationally like number 1 for, how much does a pool cost?
Right.
And his business, like he talks about how rough his business was. It was rough. Like he was heading into tough times. And once he ranked number 1, then everybody started using him. Why? Because everybody else was hiding their costs, and he was putting this out
educated
there.
them. He was transparent,
Exactly.
About the pricing, and he was
Yeah.
detailed, and it established.
And he
trust
didn't have to
authority.
go lower them. He didn't have to
Right.
do anything.
Right.
It was he put all the information out there that people were like, "Well, now I'm educated and I can make a purchase decision."
Well, and again, he established trust with these
Yeah.
people by providing that information.
Absolutely.
And so they initially went to him.
Yeah.
And he probably landed a lot more of them because of it.
Sure.
So, all right, great. So, just before we wrap up here, if you had one piece of advice as to where to start with inbound marketing, what would that be?
I would tell people that you need to treat your website like it was a salesperson. And what I mean by that is you wouldn't just tell your salesperson what you want them to say and then leave them alone for a year. You would pay them well, so you would invest money, and then you would continuously help them improve their process. You would get them to, use a CRM like Agent Sauce to start collecting data on these people, to email them, to call them, to do all of those things. And that's what your website should be. It should be that digital portal where you're engaging, not people coming and looking at your brochure. Stop thinking about it as a brochure. And the funny thing is, especially, real estate agents, I do think it's funny, right? Is I'm one of the guys, right? If someone drives up in a crappy car and they say they're a real estate agent, I'm like, ooh, I'm probably not going to use them, right? But a real estate agent drives up in a brand new, Cadillac or BMW or whatever. I'm like, this person knows how to sell a car. So
House.
Sorry. Yeah. House. Sorry. And so think about that from a reverse. So you go spend $80,000, $60,000, $80,000 on a car to make sure that you look good, to make sure that people realize that you know what you're doing as a real estate agent.
Right.
And then you go spend $500 on a website.
Which is likely to be their first impression of you, because somewhere around 90%
how many people
of all
see you in
new
your
listing searches.
How many people see you in your car versus how many people get on your website?
Right.
So the thing is treat that website as a salesperson.
That is probably some of the best advice I've ever heard insofar as marketing stuff goes.
Brilliant.
I'm just saying, right up there, man. Good advice. Good advice.
I can't take credit. There was a guy, Aaron, I'm not going to get his last name, but there was a guy, Aaron, that basically talked about that companies do this. The way that companies do it is they build these beautiful lobbies, right?
Right.
And they buy artwork and the leather couches and everything else.
It's all decked out, marble, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah. And they even have a secretary, assistant, whatever you call,
greeter.
Greeter full time that they're paying all year long. And so 50 people come through the company's, lobby
door there, right?
In a year. But on their website, they got 300 people visiting their website every month.
Right.
And their website is a piece of junk.
Right.
Come on, people, you know.
Absolutely. Makes tremendous sense when you phrase it like that.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. Well, Doug, thanks for joining us today. This has been Adam Small with Agent Sauce and the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. If you want any more information, want to learn more about us, feel free to contact us at 877-958-8043 or agentsauce.com.